How's it going, everyone? In this video, I want to take you guys through a bunch of PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 game updates. We have a pretty significant update on Final Fantasy XVI. Shadow of the Tomb Raider has gotten a PlayStation 5 upgrade that is adding 4K support in 60 FPS mode on the PlayStation 5. And I want to give you guys a heads up on two upcoming PlayStation 4 titles in Black Book and Chernobyl. Chernobyl we knew was coming to the PlayStation 4, but now we have a release date as well, so that's pretty exciting. More on that at the end of this video. But first of all, Final Fantasy XVI English voice recording is going first due to facial capture. This is coming from Naoki Yoshida on the latest episode of Ashigana TV, noting, I've been working on Final Fantasy XIV for 8 years now, but I've never been to a voice recording session. I have my own policies about this. If I go, since I also write some dialogue, I would want to step in and say my opinions, making the whole session seem like there are two sound directors, and I think the voice actors may have a hard time if the producer-director comes in and says different things from what they were told from the sound director, so I don't go to voice recording sessions. I'm also not going to Final Fantasy XVI recording sessions since I'm not the one writing the story. During story meetings, I do say my opinions, like I think this line should be changed considering the protagonist Clive's emotions, although the team has been doing a great job of taking my opinions into consideration. This time, English recording is going first, and we have been focusing on British English. Also, we have to record facial movements. We can't possibly hand animate every cut of a scene, so this time we are doing a full facial motion captures and then adding voices to that. Those works are not entirely cutscenes though, so this is one of the reasons why the English version is ahead of the others. We are going to start the Japanese version soon, so they still have to get through that process, the facial capture as well as English voice recording, so to me, that's probably going to take a significant deal of time, but if the fundamental assets of the game are done, and this is kind of the last piece of the puzzle to get Final Fantasy XVI into a state where it could be at least close to being released after the final touches, then I would still probably say we're 8 to 12 months away. I think 8 to 12 months is a pretty reasonable expectation, because remember, you have to get through this process, you have to put the final touches on it, and then the game goes gold, which adds another 6 to 8 weeks until the actual release. But I think that would put it towards that, latter portion of the spring to middle portion of 2022. Maybe it'll be a late 2022 game, but it seems like this game is relatively far along, and Naoki Yoshida seems to be pretty competent in terms of handling the development of these games. So I have a lot more faith in Final Fantasy XVI than Final Fantasy XV. I know a lot of you guys, when I talk about FF16 potentially coming out in 2022, some of you guys are completely of the idea that it won't come out until like 23, 24, just because we've seen the story with Square Enix and Final Fantasy titles. However, you have to understand that Naoki Yoshida has done some great work on Final Fantasy XIV, and remember the state that game was in? This dude knows what he's doing, and I feel like he wouldn't be of the mindset, and based on some of the verbiage he uses, he doesn't like talking about FF16 unless there's significant information to actually divulge, and in this case, this is pretty significant information. But based on the fact we've already seen quite a bit of the game, we've already gotten quite a bit of information of the game, I think we are heading into the latter stages of development. I think that's safe to say, and I do think this game is going to be out in 2022. Personally, again, I think first 6 to 8 months of the year, at worst it's latter portion of 2022, and I'm pretty good with predicting release windows and delays and everything like that, but I'm confident in Final Fantasy XVI, and trust me, I've completely trashed Square Enix before with games taking a billion years to, get out the door, and them announcing games 6 to 7 years ahead of time, but I really don't believe that Final Fantasy XVI is gonna be in that realm. Remember, the first trailer we saw of this game was already looking pretty close to a well-polished product, and obviously trailers are only going to tell you so much, but honestly, that trailer was a far bigger indication than what we saw at like the first trailer for the FF7 remake or something like that, where it was just a CG trailer, and a lot of the times with these Square Enix titles, it is CG trailers first, but with FF16, they got right out the gate, and they're like, yo, here's a gameplay trailer, enjoy, and that already gave me quite a bit of confidence in the game, but we'll see how things turn out. Alright, moving on from that, Shadow of the Tomb Raider Update 2.01 has been released for the PlayStation 5. That has added 4K support in 60 frames per second mode. Super exciting. SOTR is a fantastic game. Again, I didn't like it as much as Rise of the Tomb Raider, but it's still a great game in its own right, especially from a gameplay standpoint, and the game is on sale. If you want to pick up the definitive edition or the complete edition, whatever they call it, with all the DLC, I believe that's available for like $13 right now, so I highly recommend that as a part of the PlayStation Store's summer sale, and the fact is, if you have a PlayStation 5, you're going to be able to play it even even better, and the amount of content in that complete edition is a significant deal of content, so definitely worthwhile to check out. If you have yet to play Tomb Raider 2013 or Rise of the Tomb Raider, I do recommend playing those two first. All three games are really good. ROTR is my favorite, as I've said before, but Tomb Raider 2013 still holds up pretty well, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider still has a lot to like, so if you have a PlayStation 5, you'll be able to play it even better. Alright, moving on from that, I want to give you guys a couple of heads up on upcoming PlayStation 4 titles that are going a little bit under the radar. First of all, we have a Black Book, which is a card-based adventure RPG, so to speak. It'll be dropping early August on August the 10th. Black Book is a dark RPG adventure based on Slavic myths in which you play as a young sorceress, fight evil forces in card-based battles, and explore the world where humans live alongside mythological creatures. Awesome art direction in this game, if nothing else. Really digging that aspect of the game. Very colorful and very vibrant in design from that standpoint, and it seems like it has a pretty big emphasis on its story as well. The game notes, uncover the seals of Black Book, unleash hellish spells on your enemies, collect spell cards and new skills as you progress, a historic adventure, solve riddles, and complete side quests as you learn more about life in the Slavic countryside, lead a demonic flock, send demons to do your bidding, but be careful, idle demons will torture you if you don't find them something to do. Myths and legends, explore a world based on Northern Slavic mythology, learn from an in-game encyclopedia created with the help of expert anthropologists, and find all folktales hidden within the game. Again, Black Book is due out on the PlayStation 4 and a plethora of other platforms on August the 10th. And lastly, another title that has gotten a release date, Chernobyl, will be coming to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One on September the 7th. Now, this game is dropping very, very soon with its full release on PC, I believe, in early August, and a little over a month after that, it will be coming to PlayStation 4 as well. Chernobyl is a game that I think would be right up the alley of a lot of people. It's a science fiction survival horror RPG from the developers Farm 51, who also did Get Even. It's set in the hyper-realistic 3D scanned wasteland of Chernobyl's exclusion zone. Explore a non-linear story in your search to uncover the truth of your tortured past. Definitely a game that has a lot of survival elements to it, and I do expect it to be more of a challenging title. Overall Steam reviews. Now, this is interesting. Remember, this game has been early access on PC for a while. Overall reviews, 3,200 reviews, 77% positive. But if you actually look at the recent reviews, which is a lot more indicative of how an early access title is doing, 191 reviews, 92% positive. So that is painting a much more positive picture. And if you are into more survival-oriented games, post-apocalyptic, this is probably a game that's going to be something you end up really enjoying, and one that's going super, super under the radar. And hopefully it still gains a little bit of traction, because there's a lot of games coming out in this late August, September period. So there's going to be a lot of competition for your dollar. So yeah, right now it's a little quiet, even though tomorrow is a big day of game releases. Comes August, late August, September, October, it's going to be pretty heavy in terms of new games every week. But that's going to wrap up this one. Again, Final Fantasy 16 development seems to be progressing pretty smoothly. Again, I plan on seeing that game in 2022, whether it be, I'm thinking anywhere from April to August, which I know is kind of a significant window, but, probably not a July or August release. Usually Final Fantasy comes out in one of the premiere months, but we'll see how that turns out. Shadow of the Tomb Raider gets a 4K 60 FPS upgrade, Black Book coming August 10th, and Chernobyl coming September the 7th. That's going to wrap up this one. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.